Um, my thoughts on the UFC, it's, obviously it's the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts, and I'm very, very excited. All the years that I've been training in wrestling, and now that I transitioned into MMA, and after seeing a lot of wrestlers being really successful in the sport, I'm very excited. I'm training every day, all day, 5-6 hours a day. So, I'm ready for the move. And whoever they have in front of me, I'm gonna go out and just try to put it on them. Just much love and appreciation for all the Pinoys and Pinays. That's those are my roots. It's my heart. It's how I grew up. I grew up as a young Filipino kid, in Northern California, in the Filipino community, and everything's Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
from the food to the culture to the people to the respect to the love to the hospitality. It's just, it's I love it, and I want to represent, and I not only represent, the Pinoys, but I also represent Vallejo, my community, who has helped my development along the way throughout the years, with my raising money for my wrestling to be able to go, halfway across the country to wrestle in national tournaments. Yes, my community has always been there for me, so I want to reach out to them and let them know that I do represent, Vallejo, California as well, and wrestlers too, so yeah, I'm excited, man, and for all my Pinoy fans, much love and appreciation for your support. Christians are stereotypically thought of as aren't tough, But there's a lot of Christians that are tough. You look at the Bible, there's warriors, there's soldiers in the Bible that were devout Christians. Look at David. He had a heart of a lion. He put Goliath down. There's Jacob wrestling Jesus. I mean not Jesus, wrestling God. There's the 40 wrestlers standing up to the Roman emperor. There's on and on. It talks about warriors in the Bible. And so with that, you can use that same mentality in the ring. And if you look back to the roots of mixed martial arts, it's about self-defense. What self-defense is better than the other, and self-defense and martial arts, if you look back at it, it's all about respect, and that's huge in Christianity, and I think Jesus would like, for some fighters, whatever you're in, whether you're in a business type of atmosphere, fighting, if you're a coach, teacher, whatever role that you're in, you're gonna have to apply the Christian perspective on everything. It's not, if you're a Christian, you don't fight. It's not that. It applies to all roles in your life, and it applies to all positions in life, So it's just, so when people say that, I'm like, man, look at the Bible, man.
Right.
Read the Bible. It talks about warriors,
Mm-hmm.
It was a long process. I've been watching it since the UFC ones, and I've been watching Pride in its beginnings, and I've been wrestling for a long time, and when I wrestled, I always had the mind frame of becoming an Olympic champion, and so I did everything I could to be an Olympic champion, and with having a family, it's kind of hard, with traveling every month, training at the Olympic Training Center, leaving my family for 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks at a time, and having new kids, and my wife is raising the kids on her own. She's like a single parent, how tough that would be. And so there was a strain on our relationship, when I was training for the Olympics. Finally, I decided to hang up the boots, and with wrestling, but there was still the competitive juices flowing in my veins. I wanted to compete, but my family came first, and I got a full-time job, started coaching and teaching at UC Davis in 2003, and that's where I met Uriah Faber. and Uriah Faber was always in my ear. You know, Uriah Faber is, you know, the former WC featherweight champion, and arguably the best pound for pound fighter in mixed martial arts. So he actually came up to me and said, Munoz, you need to do this. And I'm like, you know, I'm getting my master's. I got a wife and 3 kids at the time. I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm running wrestling clubs. I mean, another thing on my plate, bro, I don't think I can do. I mean, he was always in my ear. He brought a training camp up with Randy Couture, Brandon Vera, Quentin Jackson, Frank Trigg, all the, like a who's list of fighters, Hall of Fame fighters, at a camp at Sierra College. And I went there, and he was like, Munoz, you need to come. And so I was like, oh, all right, cool, yeah, I'll come. You know, and I started training with him. We sparred a little bit. I sparred with Randy, and surprisingly enough, I did pretty well. You know, he couldn't take me down. I took him down. I was jabbing him in the face, and I had no, like, you know, I was just out there like, just sticking out jab, boom, you know, boom, boom, you know, just throwing stuff out there and just shooting in on the legs, you know, just relying on my wrestling. And after that, you know, Randy said, you know, you'll be good at the sport. I went with Brandon Vera. He's like, Mark, you need to do this. And all those guys were like, yeah, you need to do this. And I'm like, man, I need to get my master's first, and I need to concentrate on coaching. I just moved here, you know. So suffice to say, make a long story short, 3 years later, I got in the sport. I was doing it part-time. And then I started seeing how I can provide for my family. And then I saw how I can open up my schedule, make it more flexible. I could pick up the kids, drop them off. And I didn't have to spend 60 hours, 70 hours a week traveling, going places, and coaching. So I'm like, man, it's no brainer. You know, I could support my family, do what I love, and have a flexible schedule with my family. I'm done with this, man. I'm jumping into full go. So yeah, that's. And then you know, the WC promoter Scott Adams at the time said, hey, you're the real deal. You need to get into it. And that's when I really considered it. He came out to some dual meets. He goes, what can I do to sign you? And I was like, you got to talk to my managers. So then my managers talked to him. They gave me a contract, and boom, I was with the WC.
Beautiful.
Yeah. 90-10. 90% mental, 10% physical. I truly believe the physical aspect of this sport is what you put out in the when you work out on the mat, you know, because when you're out, when you're practicing, there's so much mental thought in what goes on, you know, and you know, not only the technical aspect of the sport, but also your, you know, your perseverance, your character, you know, your heart, you know, your mental toughness. That's huge. A lot of fighters rely on those aspects, you know, alone. If you put technique on top of that, man, and then you put the physical, you're a complete fighter. You know, but I truly believe it's 90% mental, because you step out there, and a lot of times when fighters lose, it's because of their own mistakes, you know. And, you know, they might drop a hand, or, you know, and they might get, you know, exposed, and, you know, and the opposite, your opponent takes advantage of that, you know. So yeah, I truly believe it's 90-10. I think of all the times I train, all the things that I do. I train 5 to 6 hours a day, and I put my heart and soul in the training. That's how I get my confidence. My confidence stems from how hard I go in there and how well I prepared for the fight. You know, so I do a lot of research. You know, I prepare my body. You know, I basically make my body a slave. You know, and it's like a machine. I treat it like a machine. I eat good. You know, I'm starting to eat good, and, you know, put organic stuff in my body, and, you know, I'm doing everything right. And when I know I've done everything right, that gives me confidence inside the cage. When I find myself in a position, I know how to get out of it, you know, or I have enough juice to get through it, you know, or enough fuel to get through it, because I've prepared not only mentally but also physically with, you know, my diet and everything like that. So yeah, so I, you know, that's how I prepare. You know, I put a lot of confidence in my training.
appreciate your time, Mark,
Yeah.
and looking forward to your next fight, and looking forward to having you.
Thank you.